welcome back to the Locked In
channel.
That's
what I'm talking about.
My voice is a bit gone from yesterday. But yeah, we're back with a story time. I know that you probably saw the name of the video and thought, what? Clickbait, they're lying. No, we're not lying. We're gonna tell you about how we overcame the fact that Karl was a gang member and I was a lesbian. I don't really mind talking about this because it's my truth.
Yeah,
it's my past.
It's what it is.
I don't really mind. Yeah, people always, that's what I'm always saying. I'm like, people only know half of the story. They saw the wedding, they saw the fairy tale, and they were like, oh, it was amazing, but they don't know what it took to actually get there. I'm looking like Pippi Longstockings right now, but yeah, they don't know what it actually took to get there. So yeah, we're just gonna flow.
Are you gonna say what you were involved in, then we're gonna say how we meshed it together, or how
maybe you could just give it, because I don't have to go into depth because that's gonna be for our testimony event.
Yeah. Oh,
well. But yeah, if you let them like know a little bit of what you were kind of involved in.
Yeah, so it was just a very sketchy situation, you know. Like, I grew up in a council estate. For those that are abroad, it's just the equivalent of like a project housing, you know, low-income families, and in a dense kind of population of Afro-Caribbean. And as you can imagine, there's the normal kind of struggles. And growing up, for me personally, those that had the financial freedom seemed like they had the status, you know, even the charisma, you know, the independence was the gang members. So ultimately that became my ambition. I wanted to be one of them. I wanted to be in that spot, you know. I was also being victimized from time to time. I remember my parents bought me a new bike. This was a pivotal moment in my life where my parents don't usually spunk on anything like that because they haven't got that cash money like that. But this Christmas, they bought me and my brother both mountain bikes, and that was absolutely rare because they cost like, I think it was like £200 each or something. And I was riding this mountain bike to the shop, enjoying my life. It was, you know, breeze in my hair and all of that jazz. And one young man in the area was about 3 or 4 years older than me, just stopped me on the bike and told me to get off. And I literally thought he wanted a go. I'm talking innocent ages. I was something like 11 maybe. And he was like, yeah, get off the bike, he wants to go. And I'm like, Does me, no, not right now, because I need to, no, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, I want your bike, that's my bike now. And he put his hands on the handlebars and he tried to pull it, so I kind of was like, no, this is my bike. And
sorry, man.
He punched me in my lip. You know, he just punched me.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. And then literally, I just remember, I can still taste, that was the first time someone had struck me in my face that I had tasted the blood, you know, and I just remember just tasting that blood and was like, no, this is my bike. And he ended up eventually leaving me because I just weren't giving the bike to him. But I was scarred. I was like, wow, is this gonna keep on happening? You know, the first times my parents bought me a mobile phone, I had to be hiding that. Then my 12-year-old brain got to ticking and said, how can I fix this situation? My brother was being attacked and mugged on different occasions. He would run to the front door, banging on the door because some of the local guys were trying to, you know, take his stuff. And my mother's car was being broken into repeatedly, and then my dad would go outside the house and try to wave off those that were trying to get into the car. And I was just like, life just can't be like this. So if you can't beat them, you join them. And I didn't even have the status to even join, you know, so I ended up making my own gang, you know. You see, that was very entrepreneurial, if I might say so myself. You know, if you can't get it and you make it happen.
It was very much
yeah, ended up doing that. And it was very trivial, started off very innocent. We just gave each other like names and, you know, but automatically we felt the benefits of banding together, you know. And we actually ended up making the front page of every newspaper in the country consecutively, running for like 2 weeks when I was 14 with this gang that I had created. And because we were...
Probably insert the picture.
Yeah, the picture will probably pop up. And yeah, because we were brandishing, sorry, was my English, we were brandishing a pump action shotgun. It was actually a replica, but the majority of the streets of London didn't know that. So we were the only 14-year-olds really with a pump action working live shotgun, you know. And that was like free PR, you know. Each time the press was putting it out, it was just free PR. So I kind of just surfed that wave. And then eventually what we were faking to be, we actually became. You know, I always explain it in a way where you put on a mask every day when you leave your house, because at home you don't need it. Some people needed it at home. I didn't need to wear a mask at home. My house was a safe environment, you know. But each time I would go outside, I have to put on that mask. When I come in, I'll take it off. And I did that for about maybe 2 or so years, for about 3 or so years. And then eventually I came home one day and I just couldn't take off the mask. I was that guy, you know. I became unremorseful, you know. I started to see a lot of the kind of like the divides between like the haves and the have-nots. And I started to see that what we were doing was basically making the best out of a bad situation, you know. And obviously that was all deception, we were being deceived, but there's no greater thing than when someone believes a lie, you know, and when someone takes a lie for truth. So yeah, I ended up literally having to bury a lot of my friends. My friend was murdered by my side when we were 15, a couple of days before my GCSEs, and you would have thought that that would kind of like put the fear of God in me and be like, oh, you know what, maybe shouldn't be doing stuff like this. But all it did was just add fire, fuel to the fire, really, you know. And yeah, it just became more violent, and to the point where my whole mind was just filled with this notion of gangsterism. You know, it was what I lived for. Like, I used to make statements where it would be blah, blah, blah to the death of me. You know, I used to see my whole estate. It would feel like it was my living room. Like, if I heard that there was young men or anyone from another area in my area, I genuinely felt as if there was an intruder in my living room, you know? And we would respond accordingly. And yeah, so like a lot of my friends, we were just in and out of jail. A friend of mine actually got the highest any young person in this country has ever been incarcerated to, and that's 45 years in prison. And yeah, it just wasn't a good situation. And I was cut on my face at 14, stabbed in my chest. 15, butchered in my back. At 18, and I was shot at several times. I was actually butchered in my back by my friend's butcher knife when he dropped it in an altercation. You know, I should actually out him. He's a vlogger. His face might pop up. Yeah, literally. He dropped the butcher knife, and then the other guys picked up that butcher knife and then ended up trying to insert it into my back. But anyway, God's grace kept me. That's what the music's playing. It's gonna do all of that. But yeah, so it derailed me from like kind of mainstream living. Didn't have much grades and stuff like that. My mind's intoxicated with that. The only ways I know how to make money is illegitimately, you know, by either selling drugs or robbing drug dealers. And yeah, it's just a mess. And then by God's grace, I was able to turn it around. And then yeah, so I think maybe some of the hardships you've encountered, or not hardships, but just dealing with that.
I didn't meet Karl in that state, if that makes sense, but I knew his friends. So some of them I had, yeah, grown up with and stuff. So I knew some of his friends, and for me, I was in that culture kind of already. So it's not like I was like, oh, this like prissy girl and then I've come to meet Karl. But what sort of hardships? Because people always ask me, how did I cope? I'm like, at the end of the day, that was past and God forgave him. So I forgive him. I don't hold that against him. I don't bring it up really in conversation. It's not something that, yeah, it's not something, it's like not a trending topic. And it's his truth, so yeah. And I guess it's made him who he, well, it's not I guess, it has made him who he is today. I don't think he'd be able to be who he was if he didn't go through what he did. Certain challenges that I face in my household is that I don't know what you call it, I don't know the term for it, but PTSD. So he has this thing where it's like, okay, so it's because it's happened so many times now, I'm kind of used to it. Someone else will be like, what? Like, I'll come in the house and I walk in the room, if he's sleeping, he'll do this. Like, he'll literally lift his fist and look at me and I'm like, what are you doing? But it's so normal now. It's like someone else will be like, what? Like, your husband goes, every time you walk into a room, like, play some, like...
When I'm asleep, she's not explaining it properly.
Yeah,
if I'm asleep...
I said you're sleeping.
No.
I did. I said you're sleeping and I walk into a room and he'll literally wake up and be like...
And no one's in the house. So I've fallen asleep with no one in the house. And then she comes in.
Play some action music.
Oh, what?
Yeah, but I walk in the room and then... I don't wake him up, I just walk in. And because he's on, like... Or because of that... What's it called?
Yeah, the post-trauma.
Yeah, he'll wake up, like, in a... Like, I don't know... Like an attack mode. And so sometimes that's a bit like not like, it's not even anything. I just look at him like, okay.
You don't respect me.
I just look like, what are you doing? But then the other day, which was really bad, yeah.
It was really bad. She really
it was really bad.
Pissed me off.
Sorry,
I didn't even say pissed me off, but I had to say she really pissed me off.
It was really bad. Yeah. So basically, I was where was I? I was at home and I'd recorded and I was going to get memory card and stuff like that. So I was like to my mom, I'm gonna leave the house. Yeah, I'll come back in a bit. See you in a minute. So it was quite late. It was 11. I was gonna get Uber. I was going. So anyway, I was like, okay, see you in a bit. He's like, yeah, bye. Like, he might be sleeping, so I might take my key. Whatever. So anyway, I've come downstairs and I'm like, oh, the recording took long. I couldn't. So I just was like, oh, you know what? Forget it. I'm not gonna bother. And then I was in my kitchen, and the way our house is set up, we've got an upstairs and a downstairs, yeah. And our kitchen's like around the corner, so when you come, yeah, anyway. So I was in the kitchen and I was like in the fridge, I was getting ice and I was slamming the ice against the counter because I like crushed ice. That's me. So Karl, anyway, so then I could hear some noise upstairs, but yeah, I'm in the house. And literally before I had told him, and this was 5 minutes later, so I just assumed that he'd know that I was in the house. So anyway, he runs downstairs. Maybe you should just say your story.
Yeah, she didn't explain it properly. Like, she always fails to explain it. She's told me that she's leaving the house. Yeah? She's told me that she's leaving the house. All right, cool. So she's left the house because she's told me she's leaving. So in my mind, she's left the house. And it wasn't 5 minutes later because I was awake when you told me you were leaving. And I had fallen asleep by the time I heard the noises.
I didn't go anywhere.
All right, cool. So, because she has told me that she's leaving the house, I assumed she had. And our new place, because we've got a new place, we didn't do any of that tour video, but it's a new place we're living in at the moment. And
we'll show you soon.
The stairs have got a funny thing. The whole house is just weird in a way where
next door neighbours could be moving and it sounds like they're in the house.
Yeah, or
Joey could be just walking around. It sounds like there's a big man walking around in the room.
Human being, like, not like little cat steps, you know. So I'm hearing noises downstairs and I'm like, oh, it's just Joey. So I'm suspicious because it sounds like someone's in the house, but it always sounds like someone's in the house because of that dynamic there. So I'm ignoring it. Then it sounded all I could hear was someone like they had just lifted our TV. You can't see the TV, but it's right here. They had just lifted it and it was hitting against the wall as they were trying to make it out the back door with it. This is the noises I've heard. So...
imaginative, isn't it?
Yeah, here we go. So I literally grabbed the closest thing next to me, which is like
our money jar.
Our money jar, the penny jar, but it's thick glass. You know that thick glass that if it literally did hit anything, it's not breaking.
You're cold, you know?
If it hits the head, it's going gong, 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 gong. Don't ask me how I know those noises. That makes that noise. But literally, I've grabbed this jar and I've just ran down the stairs in my boxes, full speed. to just and catch the intruder, you know, and it was Cassandra, but I didn't wait straight away to see who it was because I thought she had left the house. So I've kind of swang round and then I've been able to just hold it back and then hit her. And I was pissed off at her because imagine I had hit her.
And I was just at this point, guys, if you know me, if anyone knows me, I'm really not like I get scared about things, but obviously I'm in my house and I know it's Karl. So I'm looking at him like, really? Like, I'm just staring at him like, are you okay? And obviously I know he's got that thing, so I'm looking at him like, and then he's looking at me with the thing in his hand like, shaking a bit, and I'm like, are you okay? Like, and then he just walks upstairs and I'm like,
say a word to her.
I carry on like, crushing my eyes, like, and I'm like, and I looked at him like, you need to get that sorted, or you accidentally hit me now. But he wouldn't accidentally hit me. It's just the circumstance. So those sort of things sometimes are a bit like, really, but that's it.
No, but in the beginning days, certain times we'll be walking. And
in the beginning times, where like, I don't know, even if someone like ran up close or something, and then he'd like react, or like he's like, if you know Karl, he's a very nice person, but obviously in the beginning he still was transitioning, so there'll be like situations where, I don't know, someone would challenge and he'd get angry really quickly. Like I would be so confused because obviously I know Karl as this nice, loving, and when I first came around him, I want you to understand, I was confused that these were the notorious gang members because they were literally cooking in pastor's house, making jokes, like always like the most cuddly, loving, fun like boys ever. And then the only issues with them were their anger. So what would usually annoy someone, like I remember we hid Karl's drink one time as a joke because that's what girls do, like you do fun stuff, and he went ballistic, like ballistic, and I was like, I'm not sure about this anymore. Like, but like my pastor will kind of speak to me and explain obviously what they've come from. Certain things don't really, I don't know, it's not the same. It's not like if you did that to not like a
I'm over that now.
Yeah, like now he doesn't, none of that stuff happened, but it was the beginning processes. And I guess I just kind of, because he was so nice, I understood that that was something that he's transitioning through, if that makes sense. And stuff like as well, he wouldn't know about, so we couldn't go in the beginning stages, we couldn't go to certain areas. He'd be like, oh, I'm not sure about that, like, and I wasn't used to that. I'm like, yeah, let's go to cinema here, and he'd be like, oh, I'm not really sure about that. Like and at that time, it's like he could not go outside of Brixton, and that was so strange to me. I was like, and then he didn't know about places to take me. I remember our first date, I think he took me to a gourmet burger, and I was like,
it says gourmet,
I was like, gourmet burger for my birthday. The burgers are like £6. No, but that was like having to teach him, and like I feel like we grew together because having to like show. But then obviously when the tables turn, like everything, I was going to the island, I was going on holidays, I was going to the most fancy restaurants. So that's how I'm saying, like, sometimes don't judge a book. I tweet about this a lot. Don't judge a book by its cover. Like, there's potential, there was always potential, and I knew that, so it didn't really affect me in the beginning like that. It's just certain things we had to work through, but
but that's enough of me anyway.
Okay, so me growing up, I'd say, I don't know, I just said about watch my insecurity video, ladies, but I don't know where it all kind of stemmed from. There was a time where I thought I was really beautiful, and then one day that changed, and I really wanted love. And my dad loved me, but he wasn't the sort of person that shows loads of affection. So anyway, I just started becoming, like I've said in my insecure videos, to watch that, really insecure and just like all over the place, and just wanting love so much, and wanting someone to make me feel special and tell me I'm beautiful and all those things. So anyway, I was about, probably say 15, I was 11, and a new girl came to my school, and she literally she became like my best friend, and she was a real, like at that stage I was kind of a tomboy, but still like tomboy but really girly, and she was a tomboy, and we just started hanging around with each other, and yeah, we just got really close, and she understood me. Like, she understood me, and I remember I'll tell her everything. I'll talk to her about my situation at home, and yeah, stuff like that, and she'd like just be there for me. But we was genuinely really best friends. And then I remember first year of college, and yeah, we were just around each other a lot, and really, this is actually the first time I've actually shared this like this, so it's a bit like but yeah, we was like really getting closer and closer, and she'd like if I didn't have any money, there was times where I didn't have money, she'd buy me trainers, she'd buy me watches, she'd buy me clothes, she'd buy me food. She just was always there. Like, she was, and you know, growing up, like, you know, you when you have that friend, and you always want that friend that's always there, not like there sometimes, but I mean anytime I needed her, she was there, and she made it very apparent that anytime I needed her, she was there. And yeah, it started off like that, and it was really like, I can't explain to you how close we were, but then it went left, and close went from us kind of, you know, we'd play jokes like, oh, imagine you was a boy, and imagine you was this, and then imagine this was that, and then it just escalated into a very intoxicating relationship. Like, it was so unhealthy that I can't even get into real depth and detail of how unhealthy it is. But yeah, it became a very unhealthy relationship, and none of my friends knew. So I'd call the girl another name and pretend that she was a boy, and I just kind of be is it MIA? MIA.
This is in action. The Maya and MIA.
Yeah, I'd be MIA, and I'd like always be with her and always be around her, and I ended up moving into her. Like, it just got really deep, and it got so deep that when I got my own hostel, and literally like we'd have full-blown fights, like it was like a really terrible situation. But yeah, she'd like headbutt me and do all these mad things, and everyone around, like in my hostel, they thought she was a boy, so they'd sit me down and be like, oh, Cassandra, I know what you're going through, and you know, you shouldn't let a man treat you like this, and not knowing that she was a girl. And for me, like I was saying, it wasn't a thing of where I was so attracted to girls. Like, she was a tomboy and she was like a boy, and everyone thought she was a boy. It was a fact of the matter of, I just wanted to be loved. So she ended up cheating on me anyway, and breaking my heart. And I don't want to go into too much detail, because I'm gonna have an event, me and Karl have an event where we're gonna share our testimony fully, like, so you can know everything, because that's only the beginning of things. And she cheated on me, and then I ended up trying to commit suicide and like take my own life, and that
sort of intoxicating.
Like, yeah, it was a very hard situation, and it's so strange now that some people know who she is and some people don't, and I don't want to share that yet, or I need to talk to her about it and stuff like that. But I mean, now we're like best friends, and she was at my wedding, and yeah, that's how crazy it is. So, but how do you feel like you?
She's one of my favorite people.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite people.
You know, so for me personally, like, this is what's relevant. You know, everything else is kind of irrelevant. You know, so ultimately,
you love me.
Yeah, here we go. Ultimately, like, we weren't born in this. You get me? So like, and we weren't born in this place in our minds. You know, and like, the journey didn't start here. So whatever's kind of brought us here, I'm grateful for it. I don't really see. And
that's what I feel like. I think when we first got together, that's what I love so much, because he knew all of this, and I shared everything, and I shared the depths of things and how I felt, and like, he was so encouraging. Like, it was like, okay, it wasn't, you know, like when you tell someone something and you're waiting for them to be like, oh, or what, or either some boys like it, you know, that kind of like weird stuff. But he wasn't like that. He just was just like, I hear you, I'm here for you, you know, how are you feeling about it now? And I obviously explained that it wasn't actually a sexual, it was an emotional connection that was unreal, like unreal, very unhealthy. So yeah, like I feel like the fact that you was able to accept me for me, I was able to accept him for him, is why we are here today. And yeah, we love her. Like, it's just, yeah, it's all like, but you guys are gonna be thinking, huh? But yeah, if you would like, what? But if you would have known,
locked in,
stay locked in.